Spire Farm to Fork, Maslow's. You do events everywhere, and we got them here today,
I
Mary.
know. And my husband works for Iron Tech Iron Coat.
Okay.
One of the first things he said when I said you were coming, he said, You're doing cooking lessons at his, they can sign up through his work. They do
Yeah.
different things. And he said, they're doing cooking lessons there. I said, are you serious?
Yep,
And he
yep.
said, yes. And my niece is a Girl Scout and just came to Spire
Oh,
for.
wow. Nice.
I said, you are everywhere right now.
are,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
We had a group of, I think they were, what, sixth graders?
They're
Middle school,
yeah.
I think, age girls, and they came in and they were working on a cooking merit badge, so I got to work with them for about 3 or 4 hours a couple of weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time.
She
with them.
loved it. I'll tell
Yeah.
you, she brought home the recipes, which I thought was so sweet too. You guys actually had them printed out.
Yeah.
And she told my sister, she's 12, and she said, I'd like to make this for the family.
Well, that was
Which
their
is
last
so
requirement. Is they had to
fantastic.
cook that meal for their family in
That
order
is
to get
so
their badge.
neat.
So,
That's that
What
hip
a
young
cool thing.
dude that Chef Brad is. Because, come on, you have to be honest with the chef and tell him what you said on the air.
Oh,
you didn't believe that.
I couldn't believe how young you are. Like I said yesterday, I always try when I know someone's coming in just to find out a little bit more, about
so
you.
You stalked me.
I stalked you a little, but I was shocked at that how successful you are and so young. I mean, bravo.
Thank you.
That's
thank you.
really incredible.
Yeah, I have a great support system, a great staff, and wouldn't be where I'm at without my family. So it's been a long, 10 years I've been working at this in the industry, and it's been a long 10 years, but it's been great.
Wow.
I'm happy where I'm at. So.
Is this something, Chef Brad Heinsley, of course, in studio with us, is this something that you wanted to do? Is this something that, as a young guy, you're like, man, I want to do this?
Yeah, I always tell the story. I speak at a lot of schools, elementary, middle school, high school, and I always tell them the story of how I got interested in cooking. And my parents ran a little league when I was younger, and sports was like the family thing. Everybody played t-ball and little league, and all my siblings, 2 of them went on to play basketball. And after t-ball, when I was 7 or 8, my dad sat me down and he said, Brad, my dad's name is Todd. He said, Brad, you're not the greatest athlete.
Oh, that's hard.
And I looked at him and he said, so you need to find something else to put your passion into.
Aw.
And he said, and that's okay. And so because we were at the ballpark every single day throughout the summer, because they ran every single game they umpired, I eventually got put in the concession stand, and I started running the concession stand when I was 9 or 10 and did it for 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
So that's how I got interested in food, and I thought, this is fun. I like to see how excited people get over food. Something as simple as a hot dog then, but now, a simple steak or a piece of fish that's cooked perfectly well. I get so excited over that. So
That is so
yeah.
neat.
Isn't that crazy? We
I
were
love-
talking about there were 6 kids in my family, and what I would say is exactly that. I had the athletes in my family, those that would, do their thing, and I was more the music, art, theater kid, and I loved what I did. I tried sports, but I was terrible
Yeah.
at all of them.
Yeah.
So
And my parents never, they didn't say, "Oh, you're good at it," when they really knew I wasn't. And
Yeah.
they've never, been dishonest towards any of my siblings. They're, they don't hide behind.
That's fantastic. And that's hard to do as a
Yeah,
parent,
it is.
especially if you have some that do excel and some that don't.
Yeah.
That's tough. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's difficult. You don't ever want to feel that you're not encouraging your children, so.
Well, had they not, who knows where I'd be? If I
Right.
didn't, if I wasn't told at such a young age, find something else to love and to enjoy, and it's okay that you don't enjoy sports. I don't know where I would be.
I
So,
love that. I
yeah.
love that you said, I have read that you said that you found, coming from a small hobby farm, you said,
Yep.
that, picking things from the garden, that's where you found the beauty in food. And
Yeah.
I love that. I think that is simple and really relatable. I think that's really cool.
I think if you ask my mom, she'll say that I, fought her every second having to snap all those green beans when I was growing up. But, and I did because, I wanted to go out and play and have fun,
Right.
and we had to snap bushel after bushel of green bean. But then I'm thinking at it, 10 years later when I'm in high school getting ready to go off to college, and I thought that was really where I found my love and passion for food was growing all of this produce on the farm and raising the animals and seeing, everything from start to finish, from a
Right.
seedling growing into an ear of corn, or from an animal being born and then it eventually, and I know that's sad, I
It
know
is
that's
sad and
grotesque to
hard.
some people, but that's really, just to see the love and the passion that goes into raising an animal, and
Sure.
then that love and passion being put on a plate.
Right.
Because it's not just about, killing that animal and its food, it's treating that animal humanely, feeding it the best food you can find, and giving it a great life while it's living, and then, slaughtering it in a humane way, and then really showing it in a really perfect way on a plate, and just showcasing how beautiful that piece of meat is. So that's the way I look at it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That
Have
does-
you put out any books yet, young man?
I've got a book in the works, and it's been in the works for about 4 years, and I'm working with Wade Brightsky from We Create Media
Sure.
in Valpo, and it's, I told him, he and I are working on it together. He's going to help with a lot of the photography, and I says, I don't want to rush this. I want to make sure it's done right. So, he's got a great marketing plan and a great production plan for the book, but I said, when it's time, I'll know it's time. So I
Right.
just work on it periodically, and then something comes up that I think is a lot cooler, like a coffee shop, and
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I was going to ask too. How did
Absolutely
that?
great.
How did that come about?
well, Wade and I were meeting on the cookbook a lot last year, and the previous owner of the coffee shop, who is in Rotary Club with me in LaPorte, asked me if I had any ideas to help him revitalize his coffee shop. And after meeting with him, he says, do you just want to take it over? And I said, well, let me think about it. And we talked, had another couple meetings, excuse me, and talked about, the financial aspect of it, and, what was working and what wasn't working. And it just it felt like a right move for us to give it a shot. We signed a temporary lease, 6 months to see if it's going to work. And if, we can turn it around, which I'm, confident that we can, then we'll sign another year lease and just continue to move forward with it. So it was something that fell in my lap, and it was a challenge that I didn't want to pass up on. So,
Especially when it does kind of fall in your lap like that, it's hard to turn away from that. I mean, on some level, you have to feel like, oh, this was brought to you for a reason. This wasn't just, somebody just didn't say, here, take it. It just kind of happened, and that's
Right.
really cool. So
right. And excuse me. And I spoke with my whole staff, and we have a great plan in place to, revitalize it. And we're not making any huge changes all at once. It's a lot of gradual, small changes. So you walk in, day one, it looks like it was when the previous owner was there, but now I have my manager, Beth, there, and she just brings all these homey touches, and she's got a lot of great ideas, and I give her my thoughts, and, we both run with things, and it's just gradually evolving into a really nice, comfortable coffee shop that people are noticing the changes, and they're happy with the changes. So
good.
Little Younger Life live action here, of course, on the dial, Gerard Media's flagship station, WIMS, Rick Federici, Mary Anthony. Chef Brad is here in the studio. So you have brought with an unbelievable plethora of things. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you have here, Chef Brad. We're gonna talk about recipes and healthy ways to do this. Describe what you got here. We're gonna really kind of pull it all together. This is gonna be fun, and sample,
And
which I'm
sample,
really excited.
and sample healthy.
I hope you have
That's
plates here, because that's the only thing
Yes,
I forgot was
we do.
plates and something to eat with. So what we've got, we're talking tofu today. I spoke with Rick and Mary last week, and they asked let's talk about something healthy. And we just put tofu on the menu, and I love tofu. And, a lot of people think it tastes like rubber, and it does, okay? But it has no flavor to it. And that's the beautiful thing about tofu, is it just is this perfect canvas for carrying so many wonderful flavors. And you can put literally anything with tofu, and it's going to taste really great. So I've got some great tips for you. We're working with firm tofu today. They have tofu from silken to soft to firm to extra firm. Your silken and soft tofu would be things you would put in a smoothie instead of yogurt. You would put this tofu in there to give that creamy aspect to a smoothie if you are going dairy free. Firm and extra firm tofu are things that you would saute and add to. We're going to do a yellow curry today. So we're going to add coconut milk and peanut butter, some spinach and carrots, and some other sriracha and soy sauce, and we're going to add the tofu to it and make a really nice Asian dish. And then we've got some tofu fajitas with lime juice and cumin, some chili powder, and we'll throw in some peppers and onions too. So it's going to be, I'm really excited to prepare this for you.
What is the, let's talk about where the pan's at, and let's talk about this.
So this is an induction burner. I really enjoy, I was just talking with the both of you about it. You have induction, you have gas, and you have electric. A lot of people who love gas hate electric, because electric takes forever to heat up and it takes forever to cool down. So if you're cooking something and the pan's getting too hot or it's done, you turn the burner off on an electric stove and you leave it on the burner. It's going to cook and cook, and it's eventually going to burn or get overcooked. So unless you're careful and take it off, you're going to have a lot of problems. Now with induction, it's run by electric, but it's also run with magnetic waves. So as soon as that magnetic field is broken, the pan comes off the burner, the heat shuts off instantly. So if you shut off the burner itself, that magnetic wave is cut and it's going to shut off instantly. So it cools down just as fast as gas. It heats up just as fast as gas. They say you can boil water in about 30 seconds using an induction burner.
Wow.
So I really love them. We travel with them. We obviously have gas at the restaurant, but I have 4 of these burners. They're relatively expensive, a couple $100s a piece, but they're worth the investment, especially for me when I do a lot of these cooking demos and I travel a lot.
Absolutely. Sounds a little safer too, as far as, I mean, heaven forbid, you said you go to schools. If a kid knocked it off, at least then, I mean, it's still going to be hot, but it will cool down fairly quickly.
Right, and then you don't have that open flame too that
right.
could catch things on fire. So it is a lot safer, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Well,
So-
good. That's really neat.
So what type of ingredients, if you don't mind me asking, did you bring with? So you have, different things you had mentioned. There's lime. I see a lot of different things that I'm familiar with that I actually cook with as well at home. So let's talk about that, Chef.
So for the fajitas, we're going to marinate the tofu with lime juice. I've got some cumin here, some chili powder. We're going to let that marinate for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then we'll saute that in a pan. I'm also going to add some olive oil to it. And then we'll saute the onions and the peppers with the tofu, and that's like a normal fajita. You go to any Mexican restaurant, and you have a fajita with your steak or your chicken. Well, let's try it with tofu and add the same flavors that you would find on your meat. This Asian dish, we're doing a yellow curry, which is going to be coconut milk that we will cook down with some sriracha and peanut butter, some soy sauce, a little bit of honey, and yellow curry powder. And then we'll finish it with some peanuts. I'll throw in some spinach and some sliced carrots, and then we'll serve that with some sauteed tofu as well. And you could serve that over rice as well if you'd like to. We actually have a version of this dish on the restaurant. It's more elegant than what I'm going to do for you today. The flavors are the same. We just played it up a little bit differently at the restaurant. So
I am so excited. Are you
I am
excited
too.
there?
This may sound like a silly question, but for people that don't eat tofu, like myself, or have not, I should say, tell us how tofu is made.
So I don't know the process of how it's made, but
Okay.
I do know that it's a soy product. So
Okay.
the way I usually explain it is think of it as cheese made with soy milk.
Okay.
So it's a soy product, and I could be entirely wrong with the actual process, but that's how I explain it.
Okay.
You take milk and you curdle it and you pull those curds out from the whey, and that's how you make cheese, and you
Right.
press it and you age it. Well, soy milk, tofu is made with soybeans, and you process the soybeans down, and then you take that soy milk and you mix a couple other ingredients that allow it to coagulate like this, and then you press it, and then you let it age for a week or so until it's set. And then this tofu that I buy usually comes water packed, so it's in a package of water. And if you saw me on opening it up a little bit earlier, so the first thing you want to do with your tofu after you take it out of the package is you want to press it, because there's a lot of water in here, and especially if you're going to saute it and you want to get some really nice caramelization on the tofu, you want to press it. So what I usually do is I put a towel down in a pan, and I put the tofu in, and I put another pan on top, and then something like a container of rice, just to give it a little bit of weight to press some of that moisture out. And this takes about 20 or 30 minutes to press that liquid out.
What a great
Wow.
idea. We're showing you this
And simple.
on Younger Life /live right now. And obviously, as you hear about this, please feel free to, chime in, listen
Please,
in,
right.
write down stuff. I think what we should do, we're going to keep the cam on Chef Brad, and we're going to, we're just going to watch him,
That's
and we could
perfect.
bond and obviously do our thing. But I want folks to see this live on TV
I
too.
think
Just
so,
don't
too.
make faces at me or I'll laugh.
Yeah. Yes, we will. Okay. So we put that aside now. What's
Yes.
the next thing?
So
we're
I
gonna do?
want you to try some tofu.
Okay.
This is just regular tofu. I've done nothing to it.
Get ready there,
Okay.
Mary Anthony.
So there's a piece for both of you. Give it
Okay.
a try.
I'm going to set this down for
Okay.
a minute. And then, Ryan, if you want to come on in, and then what we'll do is we'll play. And
He likes
what-
tofu.
How about, Ryan, you show them eating the tofu so you
Okay.
can see the look on their face.
go ahead and pull
Yeah.
that cam up, and we can hang out here because
You know
we
I
don't
have
need to
a-
be on camera. Okay, so you go first. There's our Mary.
It reminds me of a pencil eraser.
It does.
Okay, so-
it has no flavor to it.
Okay,
Does it?
so-
There's nothing. there.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just the texture, I say eraser. That's
Yes.
why,
Okay.
you know, like
Yeah.
I probably would not eat this alone.
never.
No, and no,
You know,
and no one should or would eat this alone because why would they? You know. I like to poke fun at my mom, and she knows that I do this. She would eat it alone because she doesn't like flavor in her food sometimes.
Right.
So I always say I became a chef because my mom was not the greatest cook. So
Oh, and Mom's listening right now. He does love you. So if you want to play with that, Ryan,
Yeah.
and then I'll just hang out here with Mary, and then that'll be great. Ryan Beth's our executive producer. He's actually now in studio. We're with Chef Brad, obviously, Mary
Right.
and I. And today we're talking about healthy ways to eat. So we're picking apart tofu.
That's right.
But the chef is actually giving us some great insight because I'm looking at all these ingredients. I could deal with all these ingredients.
That's why I'm really interested in this aspect of it. I think it's something that I would normally not even consider, you know. But so I'm interested, especially the fajita thing. Now that's something we love chicken.
Oh, I'm
So,
with you on the
You know, a chicken fajita, chicken tacos, really anything like that. So I'm really interested to taste that and see.
yeah, and the thing with tofu is you can get it to taste like the flavors, but you're not going to get the same texture.
Right,
And that's
right.
usually the thing that throws kids the most often if you're trying to get your kids to eat it is the texture thing, or even grown-ups who've never had tofu. If you're trying to sneak that into their diet, it might be harder because of the texture. But if they're a little bit more adventurous and willing to try something, it's definitely worth a try.
Can I ask you a quick question
Yes.
now? For those that are here, Ryan's working with the camera. Chef Brad, when he was utilizing the limes, you did something. You rolled it.
Yeah.
Explain to the audience what happens in that process.
So I roll the limes just to release all of the juices out of the lime, and it makes it easier to squeeze. And then what I like to do is, if you don't have a juicer, and I didn't bring one today, just use a pair of tongs,
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I've
that's a
never
great
done
idea.
that.
That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
and just use the tongs to squeeze
Holy
the
cow.
lime. So I'm going to add
That's
these.
incredible. He's getting
Look at all
massive
that,
juice
yeah.
out of that.
These limes have a lot of juice, so I'm just going to add 2 limes, the juice of 2 limes to our tofu.
Okay.
So if you're writing these recipes down at home, we've got 1 pound block of tofu, and I just cut them into sticks to make them look like fajita meat.
Right.
And then I add the juice of 2 limes, and then I am going to add in a little bit of cumin. Cumin is in a lot of Latin American and Mexican food. And then I'm also going to add in some chili powder.
Okay, hang on one second here. The cumin, what would you add when
How-
it comes to, what would you say that would be,
How much?
Mary?
I mean, was
Yeah.
it
It was about a teaspoon
Teaspoon.
of cumin and a tablespoon of chili powder.
Okay. I'm just writing this down. People are going to ask us for this recipe.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of salt. I know that sounds like a lot, but you got to keep in mind there's no flavor in this tofu.
Can I ask you, Chef Brad, is that sea salt, salt? What kind
Kosher
of salt?
salt.
Kosher salt.
Yes. I like kosher salt because, well, there's a couple reasons. There's a very simple reason that it's easier. Usually, when you're working in a professional kitchen, you don't use utensils to measure salt. You grab a handful of salt
Yeah.
and you throw it in. So it's easier to grab kosher salt than it is to grab like iodized table salt. The other thing is, I think that kosher salt seasons food a lot. You need less kosher salt to season food than if you were to use just regular table salt.
It's
So,
fascinating.
so that's why I use kosher salt. I just like the way it seasons better. And I added a teaspoon of black pepper too, and then about a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil. And then we're just going to stir this together.
He's my hero.
Oh my goodness.
Can I just hire you to live with us?
I always find it incredible that it comes easy to someone. You know what
Yes.
I mean? I mean, I wouldn't think of those things myself. You know, yeah, maybe the seasonings on other meat, but I would never, I think I would be afraid to just go, let's buy this block of tofu. But again, one step at a time. So to taste it, I think, is huge and know that it can be just as good.
Well, and I think that, it's important to be adventurous and realize that it is just food. And when it comes to cooking, you add something, you taste it, you don't like it, okay, you're out a couple of dollars. And I
Right.
understand, people are strapped for cash these days, and I get it. But if you have a little extra money and you're willing to be adventurous, give something a try. or read recipes, read cookbooks.
Mm-hmm.
We have cooking classes at the restaurant the last Tuesday of every month, so come in and
Really?
we do things just like this. We cover 4 recipes. They usually have a theme involved. This month we are doing foods that the next 4 months, foods that emit an emotion. So
Okay.
our foods this month are based off the word or the emotion of love. So we're Valentine's Day this month, so I thought of bringing in foods that were aphrodisiacs. So that's the concept.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like
So
this.
That's
we're-
fantastic.
Yeah.
So is that something, where would people sign up for that?
They call the restaurant,
Okay.
219-575-7272. They start at 6 o'clock. They're $30 a person. We cover 4 recipes. They get to try every single recipe. They get to take home the recipes, and then they get a glass of wine or beer with it.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
That's really cool. You do that every month?
We do it just these winter, spring months. Once the summer
Okay.
months hit, we get too busy at the restaurant. So
Okay.
we've got one February, March, April, and May. So
Fantastic.
yeah, we're excited for those.
Can I tell you,
That is great.
I'm still blown away on the tong trick with the lime.
I know.
I know it doesn't take much to impress me, but I'm just like, this is incredible.
A lot
The
of
amount
juice
of
taken.
juice you got out of there. Because
Yeah.
for those of us that have tried to squeeze it and use it,
Yeah.
just the normal way without the
Yeah.
little contraption you got there. So go ahead.
So tofu marinated. Everybody can see what it's like.
That is awesome. Okay. We
So
got
do you
that
want to
big.
give it a smell?
Yes, I will give it a smell.
And we're gonna let that hang out. Pass it to Mary. and
That
see
is
what-
so
me
good,
smell
the
that.
smell there. Ryan, Beth, of course, in studio, working the cams in studio.
that already looks
Mary
so
and I, of
good.
course, are here, are just loving this because, Tess, okay, so we're gonna put that aside.
So we're gonna come back to the tofu. We are
Okay.
gonna work with our tofu curry now, and so we're gonna do this a little bit differently. We're not gonna marinate this tofu for the tofu curry because the sauce that we're gonna mix with it is so flavorful. It's got a ton of flavor that we don't need to add in
Okay.
a ton of marinade. So all we're gonna do for this is I'm gonna dice this or cut it into cubes, and I've put a little bit of olive oil in my saute pan over here. And we're going to get the pan hot. The key when you're sauteing, and it doesn't matter if you're sauteing tofu or scallops or chicken or vegetables, is you want to make sure the pan is super hot before you add anything to it. And that's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to give you the color you're looking for, that really nice golden brown color, but it's also going to make sure the food doesn't stick to the pan. I always get, why does my fish stick to the pan? Your pan probably wasn't hot enough. And I tell my students in Chicago that all the time. Don't come to me and tell me your fish stuck. Well, is your pan hot enough? Yes. No, it wasn't. Because if your pan's hot enough, it won't stick. And I promise that.
Don't you come to me and
Don't
tell
come
me
to me.
that.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's a good
Yep,
tip
that's
for
great.
anything.
So I'm gonna get my pan hot, and if I don't know if they can hear this noise that's coming off the induction burner in the studio, but it's kind of like a slightly high-pitched ringing noise, and that's that magnetic field. That's the pans are special pans that work with induction, and it's that magnetic field that's connecting the burner with the pan itself.
It's kind of interesting leading into the show as we were bonding and doing some stuff. I said, okay, it does sound like a microwave, but I thought I was hearing the other part of that, which you just described, which is the ringing. I
Yes.
thought I was just in my head. Okay, so what are you doing right now there, Chef
Our
Brad?
pan's hot. We're going to add our tofu to the pan.
I love that sound.
So do I.
We're going to add a little bit of salt to this and a little bit of pepper.
And is that just normal black pepper, Chef Brad?
Yes, coarse ground black pepper.
This is incredible.
I
And
know
you
it
can
really-
already see the color that we've got on this tofu. I don't know if the camera's
Mm-hmm.
close enough in to see that we've got these really nice golden brown. We're going
Yeah.
to get a little bit more color on this. You can see that the tofu is not sticking to the pan, which means I did my
Smells
job right.
This is good.
Now, on a very basic level, could you tell us a little bit about the health benefits of tofu itself?
Yes, tofu, it's really healthy for you. So there's no fat in there. There's no cholesterol. It's, all of those things, those negative impacts that red meat and pork and seafood gives you. And none of that's in tofu. So
Okay.
it is a complete healthy product. And it's just, you're not going to feel as sluggish as if you eat steak all the time. So eat tofu once a week. Eat it
Okay.
once every other week.
Yeah.
And it just helps with, adding some natural elements to your body.
Chef, when you're describing to the folks that are coming to the restaurant and or in a situation where you're doing a cooking class or doing this, do you tell them that they're eating tofu?
Yes,
You do?
Yeah, I do, because we have a nice crowd of people at the restaurant who are vegan and vegetarian. So we always make sure we have at least 2 or 3 items on our menu that fit their dietary restrictions.
That's awesome.
So we have our tofu curry is our vegan dish on the menu this for right now. And then we're doing, we went Asian with a lot of our menu options this month, and we're doing a ramen bowl with a porcini broth, spinach and carrots and leeks, a poached egg, and some pickled celery root, and it's really great. Yeah.
Wow.
I
I mean,
know.
I'm blown away.
It is. It's so neat.
So great to have 'em
It's
here.
not the ramen noodles that you get in the instant packages that you had when you were growing up or when you were in college.
One would not think that was Chef Brad Hinesley.
Right, absolutely not.
So, I hope I don't turn your smoke detectors on.
That's all right. We could. I'll open a window.
I'm almost done.
Take your time.
So we see this color that we have on this tofu. It's really nice color. That adds a lot of crispness. And anytime you're getting caramelization, which is what we're getting on the tofu, that's the natural sugars in the product that are caramelizing. So it brings out the sweetness of the tofu, and there is a little bit of sweetness in there, and that's what we're looking for. It also is going to add a little bit of texture to the finished product as well. And we're going to remove the tofu from the pan now.
He is slick, this guy.
I know
This
it.
is awesome.
And we're going to add in, I've got 1 can of unsweetened coconut milk, okay? Have you worked with this before?
I have not. I wanted to ask you. It looks now. My daughter made the protein balls the other day,
Yeah.
and that's what
She used the
She
can?
used this.
Is
Yeah.
that something you can buy anywhere?
Any store has it.
Really?
A
Yeah.
lot of grocery stores now have a health food section or
Right.
A nutritional food section or alternative milk products, and you'll find this in that section.
Okay.
So what would you? So what is this going to like actually do for this particular situation? Explain, please.
This is going to be the base. So this is our vegan dish at the restaurant, so we didn't want to use milk as our base to the curry sauce. So this is going to be the liquid to the sauce itself, and we're going to add some other ingredients to it.
I don't know if you can hear, but we have the live birds and crows
We have birds,
outside the
yeah.
radio ranch, and they're digging Chef Brad's. It smells really good in here.
It does,
It's
and I
awesome.
think they're trying to.
They're trying to like
closer,
get in.
see if-
They're going to come right into the window.
Hey,
I
that's
bet.
funny.
So the coconut milk, it comes in this can usually, and it separates. So you have the coconut pulp on top, and then the water, the coconut water on the bottom. And so we just want to melt that coconut pulp or the hardened stuff that's usually at the top of the can.
I am blown away, Chef Brad, on how fast this is actually, for lack of a better word, melting slash
Yeah.
just. So you said you could actually boil water in less than 60 seconds. I'm watching it live right now. This is
Yeah.
unreal.
That's why these things are so awesome, because they work so fast.
And what do you have there now?
I've got a little bit of peanut butter. So I have 1 can, if you're writing this down, 14 ounces of coconut milk. And I'm
Okay.
going to add in about 1/4 of a cup of peanut butter.
Okay.
I've got about 2 tablespoons of yellow curry powder. That's the sweetened curry powder. You can do the spicy curry powder if you're interested in that, and that's going to be red. If you like it a little bit spicier. But right now you should start to smell that curry. Do you
yes.
smell it?
It's like awesome.
And the peanut butter that's
Yeah.
in here.
I can't believe how
The peanut
fast
butter,
this
yeah,
is
that's-
crazy. Well, a lot of people use peanut butter. Think about when you and I have chatted about mole. My mother-in-law, when she makes the homemade stuff, the Mexican food, she uses peanut butter and chocolate into her mole
Yeah.
to kind of play with it a little bit.
And I added about 1 tablespoon of honey, just for a little bit of sweetness.
Thank you to Ryan Beth for holding the camera today.
I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of sriracha.
And what is that? Because my daughters love that stuff.
It's
We have
the
that at
new,
home.
it's the new hip thing. You know,
Oh,
all
they
the
love
hipsters
it.
love sriracha. It's a chili sauce. It's a garlic chili sauce. It's an Asian version of like a Tabasco sauce. It just has a lot more flavor to it. Tabasco sauce, a lot of people who like hot sauces don't like it because it's too acidic. It's too much vinegar. And the sriracha doesn't have that.
My
Oh.
daughters use that. They make macaroni and cheese and stuff like that, and they'll put it in there.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, not stop. I mean, that's their choice. They love it. Even my
Wow.
picky one, and their friends
Wow,
love
yeah.
it.
Wow, that's
Very
neat.
interesting.
I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce, and I only use gluten-free soy sauce because we do have a lot of people who come in the restaurant who are either allergic or just prefer to do gluten-free. So we always buy gluten-free soy sauce at the restaurant, and I make sure of that. So this is really starting to come together. It smells delicious.
Another point I wanted to point out that I read, I found interesting, is you said if anyone does have allergies or anything, needs specific, if they have dietary restrictions, just to let your server know. When they
Right.
try to alter.
Yeah, all of our
Wow.
menus, we do list on the menus, if something's vegetarian or if it's dairy-free or gluten-free. But if you have any special dietary restrictions, and they're minor, you can tell your server and the kitchen will accommodate your
Wow.
request. We have a couple clients who have a lot of dietary restrictions to the point where, I have a packet of information of foods they can and cannot eat. So
Wow.
they gave that to me and I just said, give me 24 hours in advance of you coming in and we'll create a special menu for you.
That
So-
is
See,
amazing.
that's
And,
awesome that you
I
do
mean, you
that.
talk about dedication to your community, and not all of these things, and not just the teachings and the going to the schools. I mean, that's so cool because a child might not know they're interested in growing up to be a chef. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or may never even think about it. And that's so neat, and the dedication it takes to say, hey, give me 24 hours and I'll change or create something different for you. I thought that was really fascinating when I
Well,
read that too.
we have a handful of customers who are like that, and they said, I haven't been out to a restaurant in years because I can never find anything that I want to eat or that I can eat. And so the fact that they trust us
Yeah.
with their lives, and it's not, a simple, I just don't want to eat that or I don't like that. It's, if I eat this, I will die.
Right, right.
And the fact that they trust us and they're going to come into our restaurant and put that trust in us, it means a lot to us.
Well,
What-
I'm sure it means so much to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be able to go out. I can't imagine not having the option. You know what I mean? If to go somewhere because you really are afraid that you are going to accidentally ingest something that could kill
Right.
you. So
And-
I think that's just amazing.
And my staff, they know that when someone comes in and says they have this allergy, they clean an area of the kitchen, they wipe it down, they sanitize it, and we make sure that nothing is cross-contaminated because we
Wow.
don't want people to get sick. So I added to our curry sauce some sliced carrots. There was about 1 carrot in there that we sliced and added to it. And then I added just a handful of spinach leaves.
Do you
that is-
smell how
I
wonderful
do. It
this
smells
is?
so good. I'm watching.
It's
just-
it's
so
theater
neat.
of the mind in terms of the smell, but I'm telling you firsthand, and you can see the actual live.
Right.
What are we smelling here? Because man, it is just
Well,
incredible
you're
to me,
you're smelling the curry powder mainly, but mixed
Wow.
with peanut butter.
Chef. That's yes.
Yeah, very rich.
So
Oh, yeah.
I wish we could share that. You know what I mean? Like share that with her.
It's so we've got our spinach and our carrots, our curry sauce, which is the coconut milk, sriracha, soy sauce, our curry powder, a little peanut butter. I added our sauteed tofu, and then I've got about a third of a cup of chopped peanuts, and this is going to add a ton of texture to this dish. So, are you ready to try it?
I definitely am.
Wow.
I'm curious about the peanuts, just for those that are trying to jot down the recipe. Does it matter if they're salted, unsalted? Is it just your own preference?
Your
or-
own preference, even if you wanted to do, because we did add honey to this, if you wanted to do honey roasted just for that extra little bit
Okay.
of sweetness to it. We just do dry roasted peanuts at the restaurant because they are salted, they have that flavor, and they add a nice crunch to this dish. So this is ready. Is you
Okay.
ready?
So I'm gonna put a couple plates here.
Okay. Is Mary Gelati still in the
Yeah,
house?
Mary
Oh, is she-
Gelati, get over here. Let me go grab her. Gelati, get over. Chef Brad wants you to try it. Fly. Come on.
It's taste test time.
Come on.
Okay.
She's salivating, Chef. She's salivating.
Here, you want to pass that over?
Sure, I'm gonna do this right now. I'll get you.
Oh, that looks so
And
good.
Mary, Mary, you stand right here,
Oh,
over by the chef.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
now
here, Mary,
you
here.
have to know who I am here. I
Mary.
don't ever do this,
I don't need a.
but you're right. I trust you,
Thank you.
and it smelled good.
Yeah, it
Because
smells.
I've
so
had
good.
tofu, I bought it, tofu cheese one time, and I'm like, so I'm so excited.
Now, Ryan, what I want you to do is I want you to put down that camera, and I want you to try this as well.
I'm gonna wait until you guys
to
get.
hold the camera on you guys eating.
Really, Chef Brad's gonna actually hold the camera on us?
Are
Hold
we-
on one second here.
Can
Grab
we
a plate.
start?
Yeah, go. Okay, so the camera's on Chef Brad right now, and He's giving Ryan some. Okay, I'm gonna let Mary go first.
Very good.
Okay,
Isn't it?
Mary Gelati into the mic.
Very good.
Okay.
Delicious.
That sauce is fantastic. You said this is what you put over rice, too?
Yeah, you can just cook some
my gosh.
long grain rice or brown rice and serve this over the rice itself.
That's
Are
what.
my hero.
I love this.
This is wonderful.
Oh, don't you just want to take him home?
Yeah.
I do.
I do too.
I'll go home with you, Mary.
Will you? Thank you, Brad. I'll drive.
Is it good?
This is
Oh my
so
gosh,
good.
Chef Brad, this is like
Oh, man.
this
It's
sauce.
The sauce, that's it. It's
It
fantastic.
is to die for. You serve this at Spire?
Yes, we serve this exact dish at Spire with the carrots and with the spinach. It's fantastic.
Ryan Bob.
One of the things that I love about Asian food is that it plays off all of your flavors profiles on your palate. You know, Italian food, it might be savory or salty, and it might be sweet, and it might be slightly acidic, but most Asian cuisines, you're going to get that little bit of acidity, you're going to get that spiciness, you're going to get that sweetness, and you're going to get that savory umami flavor in it, and that's what I love about
It's
Asian
so
food.
good.
I want to learn how to make this because I would love to make this at home. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
watching the chef and it looks very, very easy to do. I mean, easy from the standpoint of, you would think it'd be something this good.
Right.
It is incredible. Ryan,
Now,
you're
is-
scarfing. Talking
Is
there.
this a main dish or what would this be?
This is an entree. We
at the
serve
restaurant.
we serve two large. We slice it into like a tofu steak almost, and we serve that with some charred carrots. So we take the carrots and we roast or we boil them first, and then we char them on the grill to get that kind of charred bitterness flavor because it pairs really well with the flavors of the curry. And we do a soy honey reduction on the plate and some pickled fennel as well, and it's fantastic.
Ryan, Beth, what do
The
you
way
think?
you explain everything, it sounds so complicated. I'd rather
It's
go
not.
to the restaurant.
It's all
Give it
very
to
simple.
go. Yes.
It's all about the
But
verbiage.
then you can't order seconds.
No.
Yeah,
You could if you wanted to. I would love for you.
Yeah.
Well, just the balance of everything. Like you've got like the
Yeah.
creaminess, and then you've got, like you said, the texture with the peanuts. I mean, it all it works out phenomenally.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Does it taste like rubber erasers now?
No.
Has anybody ever said
It's
to you, Chef
fantastic.
Brad, that just the sauce, I could eat that as soup?
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird,
It's
but
so good.
it is so good.
This is what's funny in our house. We don't eat a real spicy anything, and I love this because there's very little spice. I was afraid it would be spicier.
Yeah.
And it isn't. It's perfect. I mean, it really does play off all those different.
Yeah. Well, it's balanced, and that's the key.
Absolutely, it's delicious.
What's the bite?
That's the sriracha.
Okay.
You see, it's very little though, as far as like
I love it.
Tiny.
I'm playing camera boy,
delicious.
This is great. So Ryan's running in the other room. So Chef Brad, Spire Farm to Fork, I am just blown away. I have never tasted tofu so amazing. I mean, from where it started, I'm glad we did that. That was
I'm
was
really
absolutely
glad.
great. You could, use one of those.
I'll
or
put it in.
something.
How about I put it in? here?
Perfect. Chef
I'm really
Brad is
glad we
obviously
tasted
doing
it
his
plain,
thing.
just to know
Oh,
the
my
difference. You know what I
gosh.
mean? Just to taste it and say,
Never tasted tofu before?
I didn't. I'm a little unadventurous, I suppose you would say.
No, I don't want to say. Let's say not unadventurous. Let's say a lot of us, you just hear tofu and what you've heard potentially.
That's true.
You don't want to try it. You're like, I don't want to deal with that.
Right. You just
Let's
you
be honest
kind
on
of
this.
form an opinion before you even taste it. And so
Carrots.
to taste it plain,
Thank you.
I love that. I feel like that makes a big difference. Tasting it plain and then tasting it, like this, it actually is very, very good.
I think you're gonna have to fight over that, Mary, with other people.
I know.
I just packaged the extra curry up, and Ryan put it in the fridge, and Mary said, "Is that for me?"
Yeah. Do you know what Ryan did? He went to the fridge, Chef Brad. He knows how he's not coming back too quick. It's gonna be gone even before he gets back.
Or he's gonna run it out to his
name
car.
on
Yeah,
it,
there
right?
you go. I love it. So
Fabulous.
go
I'm
for it,
gonna
Chef.
set up for the next recipe. So
Yeah. All right.
Delicious.
Is this unreal or what? I mean, to
I
me,
really,
it's great.
I really enjoy it. Would-
Cameras on,
Yeah, the cameras are on.
then I won't lick my plate.
That's
I want to,
funny.
but I won't.
That is funny. Save it then, Mary. Put it on your desk for later. You know how funny. Delicious. Very good.
Chef Brad Hinesley here, of course, with Younger Life Live, and it has been it's massive education for me.
Absolutely,
And it's about eating healthier. To me, I am not kidding you, Chef. I would easily eat this every day. So you're
Oh,
saying
it's
you should
very
just
good.
once or twice a week or whatever. You're cool with that?
You know, there's this whole, especially around Lent time, and you know, as you enter into the
Good
new
point.
year,
Oh
there's this whole meatless Monday craze that a lot of people
Yeah.
take part of, where they eat no meat on Monday, or even on Fridays when you don't eat meat. During
Yes, when
Lent.
you're most of it are
you know,
eating
eat
fish.
tofu, because you're going to get the same protein. There's a ton of protein in the
Yeah.
tofu. So you're going to get all of that, you know, the benefits that you're supposed to get from eating meat, you know, the protein involved, but you're going to get, you know, no fat, no cholesterol out of it.
He needs to be the official chef for the Pope.
Yeah,
Because
there
I'm
you
not
go.
kidding
That's
you.
funny.
I am a practicing Catholic and I'm 49 years old, and I looked at Mary, who goes to church every week as well. Not to throw religion into this, but I am not kidding you. What an awesome thing
Option.
to have and
What
an
an
option.
option.
It is so
from a
good.
calorie standpoint, you know, is it not just tofu, but tofu prepared like this going to be really high in calories, or is it something that's a little bit?
You know, the coconut milk is lower in calories than
Okay.
regular dairy milk is. Other than that, the only thing else that's in there that's really going to have calories is the honey and the soy sauce. So in the peanut butter.
peanut butter,
Yeah.
that's what I was-
So it's not super high in calories. You know, I put a quarter of a cup of peanut butter. That's what I made is enough for 4 servings. So you're really only each getting a tablespoon of peanut butter
Oh, okay.
per serving.
That's not
so-
bad at all.
And that's
No.
what you need to think of when you're making recipes and you read a recipe and you say, oh, there's a cup of sugar in there. There might be a cup of sugar in that recipe for cookies, but how many cookies is it making? It's making 32 cookies. So that cup is being divided by 32. So that's less than a half a tablespoon per cookie
Very good
of
point.
sugar. So
I like that, the way
Yeah,
that
I
you
like
looked
that
at that. You just made
rational
mine say, yeah.
rationalization. I like that.
So, and
Good
that's
point.
what I used to. I had a client who I traveled this region with. I traveled across 5 states, and I taught diabetic-friendly cooking classes. And their whole focus was natural. We don't want to use artificial sweeteners in these recipes that you're using. So I tested recipe after recipe after recipe, and what I realized is if you're making cookies and the recipe calls for a cup of sugar, knock that down to 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Make it, taste it. Is it good? Are you happy with it? If it is, if you're satisfied with it, then try the next time knocking it down to a half a cup of sugar. It's not going to be the same exact cookie, but if you are happy with it, and that's the only person you need to please is yourself, especially if you are diabetic or trying
Right.
to watch your weight. If you're happy with it, then so be it. Who cares if no one else doesn't like it? And
Yeah.
if that's going to get you your sugar fix that you need, because I need to have a little something sweet after dinner every night. So
We do
that's
too.
going to do it. You know, you're cutting out half of the sugar. And I did that with so many dessert recipes just to prove that they are still good and you can cut out so much sugar. And, you know, eliminate some of the fat by, instead of putting oil in there, using applesauce. And instead of doing whole eggs, just do egg whites. So there are lots of tricks you can use in dessert recipes.
Can I ask Chef
Yes.
Brad, what would you, when you're looking at dessert, and you're obviously a very fit young man, what would you kind of throw out there for something, just off the top of your head, something that you might have or use or make yourself?
Well,
That is decent.
that is decent. Me, I'm all about moderation. And I did lose a lot of weight several years ago, and I have a sweet tooth. I got that from my mom and her mom, and so I didn't want to cut out that ice cream in those cookies. So instead of having 3 cookies, you'd eat 1 cookie. And instead of having, a huge bowl with 3 or 4 scoops of ice cream, have a smaller bowl with 1 or 2 scoops of ice cream. So, my opinion, have that dessert, have that sweet, thing, but do it in moderation. If you're talking about a healthy dessert, one of my favorite is, it's a meringue. It's called a pavlova, which is just egg whites, and there's some almond meal or ground almonds in it, and some sugar, and you pipe it into a disc shape, and you bake it in the oven, and you serve it with fresh fruit. So you're getting that sweetness
Oh
and
my
crunch.
gosh, that sounds great.
So the fresh fruit, you can just, cut up fresh strawberries or fresh peaches and put over the top of it, or you can dust it with a little sugar, a couple tablespoons of sugar to turn it into a sauce and let it macerate so that it does get saucier on the pavlova and it soaks into it a little bit more. And that's a really healthy dessert because you have that texture and you have that sweetness that you're looking for.
Wow.
This is great information.
is.
Younger
It
Life
is.
Live. And what a great installment as we kick into the big game this weekend.
Oh, right.
I would love to have
absolutely.
these types of things. And by the way, you could see this right away. So if you're listening or you're viewing it, don't sweat it. YouTube.com right afterwards. We've got the podcast for you. It's very,
YoungerLife.org.
very easy. Yeah. Absolutely
Take
great.
it right there.
I'm loving it. Okay, so what are we going to do now, Chef?
So I've got the fajitas starting, and you didn't get to see what I did with that pepper, but I cut the sides off the pepper.
Okay.
And so we're going to slice. I have one red and one green bell pepper. We're just going to slice this up.
Can I ask why you cut the pepper that way, just in case folks are curious?
So don't show what I'm about to do.
Okay.
Which is
Okay, we got it.
something out of the trash.
Okay, there you
But
go.
if you look at it, and I just cut the sides
Oh.
off of the pepper,
Okay.
and all of your seeds are left there, and you're not chasing seeds down off your cutting board. You're not having to rinse all those seeds out of the
Awesome.
pepper.
Yeah.
So wash it first, cut the sides off, and then it's seeds all stay together.
It's interesting because my mother, when we go out to eat or she
Mm-hmm.
comes over, she can't have seeds because of her age, because of, some people because of their health
Oh,
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that is such a
Great
simple
point.
thing. I'm
Yeah.
learning some great tips today.
Absolutely.
In cooking around, my home. Okay, explain, Chef, what you're doing right now, please.
So slicing peppers for our fajitas. So I want everybody to see what my knife is doing. A lot of chefs on TV, they show you how they cut with a knife, and it's
Yeah.
right, and it's all for show. But you know what they're doing to their knife? They're damaging the knife because that hammering motion is flattening the blade, and that's going to dull the blade. So knives are meant to be used in a slicing motion, gliding your knife, and that's the best way to use a knife. And you see how the knife is rocking back and forth? That's how you want to use your knife. Okay, takes lots of practice. It's uncomfortable at first, but if you get the hang of it,
That's art.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
to
it
tell you,
really
not only the
is.
pepper, but the way you're doing it. And then
Ooh.
I am just blown away on the beauty
I love
of
the
the
smell of
knife. The beauty of the knife. That knife is obviously a professional knife.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that to be a goofball, but it's
yeah.
like it's beautiful.
I laugh because it's not really. Again, I'm not like most chefs. I have a really nice, very expensive set of knives, and I cherish them a lot. But these knives, which my staff and I use on a daily basis, I bought at Sam's Club for $2 for $20.
yeah,
Whoa,
there you
there
go.
we
The
go.
savings continue.
I
That's
bought these about 7 years ago. And
Wow.
if you know how to take care of a knife and you know how to sharpen it, then you don't have to go out and spend $300 or $400 on a knife. The key is knowing how to take care of your knife.
Oh, I'm such a bell pepper
I love peppers,
kid.
too.
I cook them. I always talk about on the grill with fresh garlic and other things. And the way that the chef sliced them, first and foremost, I love it. And then what else you throwing in there? Onions now?
Just some sliced red onion.
Oh,
I love
this
onions.
is heaven on earth
I
right here
know.
for us in studio.
I'm
Have
the
a
only
little
one
bit
in
of
my house that
salt
eats onions. So.
A little bit of salt
And
there,
pepper.
kiddo.
People are always afraid of seasoning, and one of the things that I like to just encourage people is to don't season with salt and pepper to make it taste like salt and pepper. The thing is balance, and we talked about that with the curry, is making sure all of the flavors are in balance. And salt is a flavor enhancer. It's not a seasoning, okay? So it's not meant to taste like salt. If it's done properly and done periodically throughout the dish, layering your flavors, seasoning every step of the way, what you're going to get is a dish where all of the flavors work really well together. And that salt's going to pull out the natural flavors of the peppers and the onion and then all the spices that are in the tofu. So that's the purpose of salt. It's
That's a
not
good point.
to
Yeah.
taste salty.
You know what's really cool about this? We've had this station now for about 10 years, and this is the best smell that's ever been
Yeah,
inside of
it
this
is.
station. This
Great.
is incredible.
Is this the first cooking demo you've had in here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Chef Melody brought stuff in,
Yeah.
but it was pretty much prepared.
It was prepared.
You think about it,
That's
this is
true.
the real
Yeah.
deal, Chef.
Oh yeah, this smells great.
Wow. Ryan, thank you so much for being the good man that you are. And he's been working these cameras the entire Younger Life Live segment for us today. As Mary Anthony's
I'm
still
still
eating.
nibbling.
This is great to see this behind the scenes because she's still eating the tofu.
I'm still nibbling my
And
tofu and
oh, here she goes. Thank you, Ryan,
good.
for spinning that around. Mary, why don't you smile at the camera right now?
so good.
This is absolutely
delicious.
great. Let's chat while we've got you here for our local folks that are listening and watching, Chef. Talk a little bit about the hours for Spire Farm to Fork, please. and about Maslow's as well.
So Maslow's, we're open Monday through Friday from 7 to 4, and on Saturday from 8 to 2. We're having an open house at Maslow's on February 27th from 10 to 12. It's free coffee and donuts during that time. We've got raffles and
Yum.
prizes that we're going to be giving away. And everybody's welcome. Stop on out and have some coffee and donuts and see all the changes we've made at Maslow's. Spire, we reopened this week, and our hours are Monday through Saturday from 4 to 9 p.m. in the evening, afternoon. We're closed for lunch until Memorial Day. We are very excited to say that starting on Easter Sunday, we're going to be open for brunch.
Nice.
Those hours are going to be forthcoming once we finalize that, but we are going to be open for brunch on Sundays starting Easter Sunday. And then right now we've got like this huge thing going on at the restaurant called Aperitivo. And we've talked about it on your show on Tuesday mornings. And from 4 to 6, you come in and you buy a cocktail. Monday through Saturday, you get to enjoy a nice buffet of appetizers complimentary.
Wow.
That
And
is incredible.
Monday, as our first day open, we had a really nice crowd in for Aperitivo. Tuesday and Wednesday were kind of slow, but people finally heard about it, and yesterday it was packed. We had no seats available, and we expect the same thing today and tomorrow. So it's a great way to try. We had a lot of customers who had never been in the restaurant before, so it's a great way for them to come in and try our food. And all they have to do is buy a cocktail. So that goes on from 4 to 6, Monday through Saturday. The only caveat is on Valentine's weekend, we're not offering that because we'll be busy with Valentine's.
Right.
I'm going to throw this out there. You have a cocktail like with Rick Federicki. I'm all about this. And we have tasted Chef Brad's, entrees, appetizers,
I
and
would
stuff.
love to try more.
I would love to. There's a great show to do live on the road.
I think that would be great.
I'll bring in one of my bartenders. We can do some cocktails for you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, look at this. I'm loving this.
We have
So great of you.
Bacon Fest this week, of course. So we have bacon cocktails. We have a bacon Manhattan that is killer. We have sold out of our bacon bourbon. We have
That's hard to even imagine.
those two are.
AM 1420, WIMS, Michigan City, a Girard Media Company station.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kathan. Florida officials are saying more about a handful of recent cases and new steps in the Zika fight. We're live in Orlando with CBS's Peter King.
And Steve, the Zika